All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out for everybody so everybody can join in. One moment. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. Today we are going to talk about day trading. We're going to continue our series on day trading, changes of composure. And yesterday we talked about Keltner channels. Today we're going to talk about Bollinger Bands. So before we get started, everything we're going to talk about, as always, is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's take a look and see where we are in the market. Let me get this pulled up here. 1 second. Good, good, good. All right, so whoa, what a day today. So the market, right, the monthly chart, still an inside month, pushing back up. Big range this month so far, 71.26 points. The weekly chart, very, very interesting, right? So on last week, right, we had a momentum shooting star candle, but it came right into support. Right into these support levels right here. So we got a little bit of a bounce, right? And as usual, right, this market is relentlessly bullish, right? So we can see here on the daily chart exactly how the weekly chart is forming, right? We're 2 days into the week, right? We had a nasty day on Friday, very, very bearish. Right, came down to the 50-day moving average and left a little bit of a lower shadow right there. So still key stuff, right? We're still in this trend box, right? As we've broken down through multiple trend lines, right? And we're basically above this one right now, but we need to get to all-time highs to shift this trend back up, right? So that is the key right now. So we're not out of the woods yet, but we're pushing pretty strong, right? We had a great day today, a range of 26 points. We're up 48 points with the gap up over an inside day. So now this inside day needs to be still a consideration, right? Inside days like to be tested, right? What it means off the inside day is that price couldn't decide which way it wanted to go, right? So oftentimes if we go above these inside days, right? Oftentimes when we go above these inside days, we see they still like to get tested eventually. Now, what happens, how long it says there's still open gaps below, but typically the inside days do get tested eventually. So we'll see what happens right there. Futures are down a little bit this morning. I mean, they're not down 50 points or anything like that, but we'll see. So right now we're floating around up here, a little bit of an upper shadow here, and we'll see if we continue to get upside. And if we push to all-time highs, we shift the trend line over and we start from scratch again, right? So we just had a little blip on the radar right here and continue to work our way up, right? So let's take a look at the price action today. So pretty straightforward, right? We had an opening 15-minute candle right here, which was pretty bullish, right? A little bit of an upper shadow. But we had a nice little 15-hour break for 32.89 up to 32.96. So almost like 8-point move up. Then we have an inside candle, and we slowly worked our way up today. And then we chopped for the rest of the day, right? This is kind of one of those days that you don't see very often, right? Usually you see these kind of in really kind of bullish markets, just kind of up and just kind of drift to the side for the rest of the day, right? The majority of the move comes in the beginning of the day. Right, so not a lot of back and forth price action, that type of stuff. So pretty interesting, right? So again, here on the 5-minute chart, you can see our levels for today. These are the levels that we provide to our members before each day, each trading day. So you can see most of them, were pretty interestingly tested, right? So we had, we gapped up to finally fill that closing gap on the daily chart right here. So you can see on the daily, right, we had this level right here. The close of this candle never got filled, right? So of course we left the gap below. But it was still a key level, right? We push up to the next one, hung out here a little bit, nice candle up, get to the next level, test down, a couple lower shadows, work our way up to the monthly pivot level. Monthly pivot levels are very, very strong, right? Hit a fresh high, and then worked our way back down, kind of to test the closing gap levels here. So we'll see if we get any continuation on this. Right now, I believe the State of the Union address is going on right now, so it'll probably eventually be bullish for the market. The S&P futures right now are down a little bit. You can kind of see this was from the from earlier. Right, we have this move here, and we're kind of below the trend line right here. So let's see if we can get above that tonight, work our way up, and have a fresh, interesting trading day tomorrow. So it should be pretty good. So, so that being said, let's take a look and review, go over what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to be talking about changes of composure, day trade changes of composure. We're going to be talking about Bollinger Bands. So yesterday we talked about Keltner channels, and we saw how when things change, how things change amongst the Keltner channels. And we've talked about Bollinger Bands. We've done a whole weekly, discussion on Bollinger Bands before. So this is going to be a lot of review, but it is still important to note, right, to see exactly how these levels are handled, right? So let's take a look at that and see exactly what happened here. So let's go to the daily chart first, and let's go back to the SPX. Okay, you can see I still have the Keltner channels pulled up here. It's actually pretty interesting, right? So what happened, remember we talked about yesterday with the Keltner channels? We reviewed, what happened, how the composure started to change, how the band started to expand, how the channel started to expand. And what was very interesting is that we could not get above the mid Keltner channel, but today We did, right? So that's this very, very key level for us to hold. So let's take a look and see what it looks like with the Bollinger Bands. So let me go to the studies and take those off there. Okay, and pull up the Bollinger Bands here. Okay, there we go. These are just the default Bollinger Bands, right, with a 20 simple moving average. Okay, and so ultimately, what we like to see with the Bollinger Bands, we like to see, generally, what we've been doing is riding the upper bands, right? That we did that for a long time, right here. We rode the upper band, and then things started to move a little bit, right? And so oftentimes, when volatility picks up or when things change, right? Remember, we get these compressed moves right here, and then when things start to push, the bands start to expand. Things to get a little more exciting, right? So when you see these big moves where the distance between the bands increase, right? You start to see some changes. So if we go back, if you remember, recall from before, we have the width, the Bollinger Band width. So if we add that to the bottom right here, you can see this is called Bollinger Band width. So when those widths increase, right, and we break over a prior high, right, oftentimes we see some increased volatility in the market. And so with the Bollinger Bands too, we start to see changes, changes of composure with changes in the market price, right? So we had Friday, 2 Fridays ago, we had a really nasty candle right here, and instead of being a completely upward trending lines on the Bollinger Bands, once we had this down move, things started to shift, right? You can see there's a chain shift right here in the bands, right? And that is something to take note of for sure. And you can see very similarly to the Keltner channels, when we broke down here, we had this gap down last Monday. That was very significant because you can see there started to be a shift in the bands, and the width started to increase as well. So very similarly to the Keltner channels, although not as elegant as the Keltner channels of how it held that mid Bollinger Band, it did have trouble getting above the mid Bollinger Band, right, which is your 20 moving average. So we came back up, tried to get above the 20 moving average right here, tried to get above the mid Bollinger Band, failed to do that, came back down, right, to the lower Bollinger Band, and then essentially bounced off of that on Monday, right? So we have we had a nice inside day here, and then we've gapped above that here, and we're starting to see a little bit of a shift here in the bands. It's starting to kind of drift them apart a little bit. So we'll see if this change of composure has any future bearing on the market, right? So that's just one thing we just have to take note of, right? And very, very similar here, when we had the compressed move right here and the bands start to expand, we want to take note. And very similarly here, we started to see an expansion after this move down from this compression right here, and that is also a way to take note. So let's go back and just review what happened last December. So let me pull back here a little bit. Amazing how time flies. Right, so you can see what happened here. We were moving nicely up, right? Everything was, relatively compressed, kind of smooth. You can see we were kind of riding the upper bands. Everything was looking good until we had this first move down right here, right? Now that was significant, right? This was definitely a change in composure of the market. This is something to take notice of. Everything was trending up. We had a push down, and we had a huge expansion in the bands, which meant an increase in potential volatility, and we do see that volatility did start to increase here. We started to see some wild price action as we were holding this 150 MA, very, very key level right here. Remember the 30 MA on the weekly. We tested it once, twice, 3 times, and then we finally pushed to the downside right there. So again, these type of changes in composure definitely need to be noted. Obviously, price itself, we see the moves themselves in the price, but sometimes the bands can help us to realize that there is a change happening here, and that we should definitely take notice and look to use our other tools, such as our moving averages and our key levels, to see if anything major is happening. So right now, we're really, we saw a brief change in composure. The Keltner channels were a little bit more defined, but right now we're still seem to be holding up pretty well because the recovery was quick on this move, and we can see that very potentially we may be starting to work our way up to an all-time high, which again shift our trend lines up, and then we would see, the Bollinger Bands, essentially start to take a pattern to the upside, and we may continue to see a trend up, right? So right now, this move, although it was a brief change in composure right here, it wasn't enough to push the bands out of their trend. They're basically the only ones that's really moved so far to a flat type range is the upper Bollinger Band, and the other ones are still tending to point upward. So it does give us something to take note of, but again, until we can push down through here, just like if we can close bearishly below this level, would we start to take concern based on the price action itself. So the bands themselves can help us to see if there is a change in composure in the market. We're starting to see a little bit right here, but not super significant because of the recent recovery. So let's see if we can continue to hold the mid Bollinger Band going into the rest of the week, and if this bullishness continues, and if we hit all-time highs and the market continues to plow upward. So good stuff. Well, at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll go through as many as we can. We'll try to wrap up as early as possible so we can get a good night's sleep and have an awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So I have a few that were emailed in from Shirley. Shirley sent in some great ones yesterday. She brought up Microsoft, which had an excellent day today. Let's just kind of review this real quick. We mentioned these on our live stream this morning with the group, and Microsoft just had an excellent day. It had a nice candle today. I love how nice candle yesterday. I love how it closed above these levels right here with good volume, with decent volume. And was kind of one of those ones that we just wanted to keep on the radar, and it ended up being a great one on our game plan yesterday. So I have had a great move today as well for a 4.3 point gain, as much as a range, and a very, very decent day today. So we saw that nicely on Microsoft, and also Teva was another one. Teva Pharmaceuticals, also a good one too. I love this candle yesterday with the increased volume. Have it closed over a lot of major pivots right here, and then had a nice gap up and a move today. So great stuff on those charts yesterday, Shirley. So today on Shirley's list, we have a few that came through. Netflix, very nice close today. I like it a lot. Let's see, if the strength in the market can continue tomorrow. If it does, Netflix is definitely going to be on the radar tomorrow. So this is a great one to keep an eye on. Let me add that to the bullish list here for Wednesday, and that is looking great. Okay, so Netflix looks really good. Beautiful close over a lot of key levels. It finally closed this open gap right here. It may want to come. Remember how we talked about testing inside days? They do eventually get tested. So we have the upper side of this inside day right here, which is a next one to get tested, and then a couple scenes of the breakdown, and then these pivot levels above. So if Netflix can remain strong, we would look to see it test those levels. So great stuff on that one. And then QQQ. Let's take a look. Also nice as well. Great gap up today. Just a lot of strength in a lot of software sectors, technology sector. Various of those ETFs were looking good today. Nice close over these levels here. Good volume. The Qs look very strong and have some good potential too. Also gapped above an inside day too, very much like the SPX. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. CZR. A lot of action in the casinos this week. So CZR had a nice close today. Closed over a lot of key levels right here. Nice volume, decent green candle. So let's see if we can break over today's highs and give another push here above that 14 level. That would be very, very bullish. Lyft. I saw Lyft talked about a lot today. It had a nice candle today. Came over a lot of these levels today. Finally got a nice move. And then look at that. The 200 moving average is finally forming on Lyft prior IPO. And a little bit of an upper shadow off of those levels. Let's see what other type of price action came before that. Just some selling pressure areas. Look at that. There was an inside day right here that hasn't been tested either. And if we can get over the 200-day moving average, that would be tested, and then we'd have this pivot above. So we've got that going on with Lyft right now too. So that could be one to keep on the radar as well. And then Lite, L-I-T-A, Lumentum Holdings. So very, very strong. Had good earnings report today. Nice close, gap and go over that pivot level, so that was very strong for it. Took a little minute to get above it, but once it did, it had a nice move. So let's see if that can continue as well. I like how it held its 15 order today, then gave you a nice double inside 15 right here and a push to the upside. So great stuff on Light and Lumentum, and looks really, really strong up here. So that's great. Great close on Light today. And great stuff. Really appreciate that. MTNVR, hello, what's going on? Hope you're doing great and had a good day today. Apple. Nice moves here. So Apple, I'd like to say it was a Morningstar reversal. It kind of was, except we really weren't necessarily downtrending, completely. But it did give a nice move today. We had a real body below the first candle, right? And we closed above 50% of the range right there. And we're back above the upward trend line. So let's see if we can get some continued momentum on Apple. Looks like it's going ex-dividend on the 7th, right? So on Friday. So let's see, if we can get some bullishness through that. Paul, what's going on? I know this market, crazy stuff today, especially Tesla, which I think we'll probably see some chart requests on that one today too. Nick, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Pfizer, PFE. So we're looking pretty good here. So Pfizer looking interesting. So we've got prior resistance level. Let's see, where was that? Yeah, but way back there. So very interesting levels. It closed below prior resistance and closed below the cloud. So it had some good volume today. So it had the opportunity to close bullishly within the cloud, but it's still rejecting those levels right here. So watch for a potential reversal off of that if it can't get above these prior resistance levels. And then again, it's under both the 50 and the 200 MA. So watch out for those as well. And then APD. Yes, APD, looking good. So it did what it needed to do today. It closed over this pivot right here and is looking very strong. So great job catching that one. And let's see if it gets more upside on that one. Very, very good. Very, very good. Nice. I like it. Ernesto, what's going on? Amazon, AMZN. Let's take a look. So Amazon had a nice day today. So looking really bearish yesterday with this candle right here. It started to get into the gap and shifted our gap level down. And the key is for these big gap ups for it to defend the gap. And right now Amazon is attempting to do that. A little bit less volume than yesterday. It did not close over the prior all-time high. It did set an all-time high today, but didn't close above the prior all-time high. So right now we're watching it for possible future bullishness to see if we get some strength. So let's see how it closes tomorrow and continue to monitor that one. Optrader market, what's going on? Yeah, Tesla. So Tesla, goodness gracious. So this thing has just been, I mean, you can't even draw a trend line. Here's the trend line on it, right? It's just been vertical. It's gone straight vertical. So today was a very interesting day. We had yesterday was a strong candle, good increased volume, and then it just got incredible follow through today. I think it was up at like one time pre-market like 130 points, and then it ended up closing up 107 points. I had a huge range candle again today of 135 points as well, and the price action was just crazy, right? So, big buy the dip opportunity at the open. Some folks in our group caught that at the open on our live stream, and then we had a big push to the upside there. Nice move, right? Then came back in with big swings. I mean, each of these candles, right? 46 points on this candle. This candle was 68 points. This candle was 47 points. This candle right here was bullish, right? 22 points, and couldn't really push above it. Held the 15 orb high, and then it finally off of this inside 15 started to work its way up. A little bit of a bull flag right here, and kept going. This candle was 11 points. This candle was 15 points. This candle was 20 points. This candle was an inside candle, and if you draw our trend lines on this, you can see exactly what happened. We had a breakdown. If you go to the shorter term time frames, it was catchable on the 1 minute chart to try to get about 80 points of this candle right here, which ended up being almost 110 points to the downside. So huge move on Tesla at the end of the day. But even right now, it's up over where it gapped down 887 all the way up to 904. So it's still up pretty significantly. Almost 20 points after hours. We'll see how it handles tomorrow. It's going to have a big range to work through tomorrow. See if we can get over those all-time highs. But again, this thing has just been wild, and the premiums have been crazy. So pretty amazing stuff. MRK. MRK earnings coming up tomorrow. So that also could affect Pfizer, which was mentioned earlier. But again, upper shadow here at the 50-day moving average. Tomorrow's earnings, which will be before the market, should definitely be on the radar tomorrow for a potential 15 orb trade. Let me add that on there. So nice one on MRK. And of course we had some other earnings tonight too. CMG, Snap. We've got Spotify in the morning. So it's definitely going to be we had Ford today with a down move. Disney reported tonight, so we've got an interesting 15 orb list coming into tomorrow for sure. INTC. Yeah, Intel. So Intel basically here's your high right here was 63.71. The low right here was 63.67. So we did fill the open gap on Intel's big move up after earnings. Now it's all about how well it can try to work its way back up, right? If it wants to show that it really wanted to be bullish after this. We're at a key level right here. Let's see if we can get above these trend lines and above this key level here, the gap up high, the gap up low, and see if we can close above that and show some confirmation above it, and then continue to work its way up to fresh all-time highs. And let's say AVGO. Broadcom looking interesting right here. So we had a nice gap up today, right to the 50-day moving average, and closed as a doji, right? So we just have to get over today's highs, which would put us back over the 50-day moving average. Then we've got a gap above, and then we got the cloud, and then see if we can continue to work its way up. But AVGO can move when it's ready, when it wants to. Apple we just looked at too, got possible Morningstar reversal here on a brief pullback. I mean, really the candle itself of the Morningstar is the pullback, so it really isn't from a downtrend. But nice recovery today. Got back above the upper channel. Let's see if it can continue to push, get to all-time highs, and get us back to the bullish till proven otherwise situation. Microsoft, great day today. I love how it gapped above the upward channel today. Let's see if it continues to hold that. And then Mickey D's. Struggling up here, double inside day, lots of upper shadows, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow. Really, this 216 level is critical for Microsoft to get above. You can see it is this. It represents this gap right here. The low here was 217.16. The highest we've gotten so far is 217.10. So we haven't quite filled that gap by like 6 cents. So let's see if we can break out of this double inside day and start to do that and get over these super highs right here. If not, we may see it start to pull back and test some of these lower levels. Play on the strings down below. And we got Nike. So Nike had an upper shadow today, right? Gapped up and had some weakness into the close, and it's probably a good thing that it had that bearishness because after hours, they did report that there were their issues in with the coronavirus in China will affect their operations, and so that gave it a swift down move after the close, and it seems to have recovered a little bit, like 50% of that range after hours. So we'll see if that can continue to hold there. Otherwise, we could start to see the gap fell below and then another gap below as well. So keep an eye on Nike too. So that looks very interesting as well. In fact, that could be a good 15 orb radar for tomorrow too. So thanks for mentioning that one. Good stuff. Thomas, what's going on? CCL. Yeah, the cruise liners are they're having some issues here with this stuff too. I think what was it? One of the cruises, I can't remember which cruise liner it was, has like 7 contaminated passengers, and they're parked outside of Yokohama in Japan. I thought it was like Prince Cruise Lines or something like that. But anyway, it was definitely an issue right there. So we'll see how how this handles this after hours. Obviously, this is reacting to that news as well. Definitely keep an eye on the cruise liners. They're having some issues here with all this stuff. So we have a prior trend line here that macro trend line that we're actually back below again after this kind of mini double top right here after it finally CCL had a decent move up. So we'll see how it holds those prior levels. Good stuff. Michael Phillips, what's going on? How people retired from Tesla calls today? I know. It's we'll see. It's been pretty amazing. We've been checking out a lot of the options on. I mean, the premiums at the money are like $50-$60, right? And they're just all over the place. So I mean, it's pretty amazing. I think yesterday you could have gotten like the 900 calls for like 8 cents, and they were like $80 today. That would make for a nice day. So we'll see. Paul, what's going on? Yeah, Merck is looking really interesting. Yo-Yo-Mo, what's going on? Uber, let's take a look. Yep, so Uber has earnings coming up too. This should be a fun Friday lotto day for Uber. It's starting to get pretty strong here. Nice volume today. A decent close here, a little bit of an upper shadow, so definitely keep an eye on these levels right here. We saw some call sweeps coming through probably for pre-earnings. And just showing general strength right here. This is a trade of the week idea we had for our group a couple weeks ago and gave a great move up, and it's still continuing, so it's really fantastic. Michael, yeah, you got Roku. Let's take a look at Roku. Yeah, so Roku, again, it did give a move. It didn't quite gap above the inside day high, but it did give a push above it today for a nice move. And right now, it is still struggling. Well, it's still trying to get above the downward trend line right here. So other than that, it's a descending triangle. But if we can get above it, right, let's treat it as a trend line. See if we work our way up, get over the 50-day moving average, maybe get through this thin cloud right here and try to work on that gap. Caterpillar's been struggling too. It closed right at the 200-day moving average today, so let's see if that can hold there. Lots of upper shadows, so it's been struggling. Here's your downward trend line right here. So let's see if we can get above that, eventually over the next couple days, and then start to work its way back up to fill the gaps above. And then SQ's been on a rampage, right? It's been really, really strong. Had a nice candle yesterday, nice follow through today. Love it. So let's see if we can keep going. And good stuff. Oh yeah, then CRWD. CrowdStrike, decent close today, but couldn't get over these levels right here. We want to see it close. I like the volume. I like the candle. I just wanted to see it close over these pivots right here. So let's see if we can do that tomorrow. And then WORK. Yeah, nice candle today. Definitely showing that it wants to move, right? And that it's basically just working its way back up to these next levels here. So let's see if it can continue and get above those levels for us and give us some strength. And then Pacey. I think you're doing that on purpose to see if Siri comes up for me. But yeah, great close on this one. I like it. It's newly added the S&P 500. Beautiful close today, decent volume. We have earnings tomorrow after the close. So looks like they're trying to push it up as much as they can before there. Let's see if it holds. Great stuff. Cloud Guy, what's going on? Thank you so much. Yeah, CRWD. Take another look at it right here. So again, these pivots right here are key to close above. Good volume today. Nice bullish behavior. Let's look for some continuation and some confirmation over those levels. And then Oxy. Yeah, I haven't looked at this one in a little bit. This has been a great one for us in the past. Right, we've had some nice moves on this. Up, then it got right to the 200-day moving average, came right back down to the cloud, right to the 50. So it's got work to do. So again, we got a gap above here. Let's see if we can close into that gap or start to work our way in that gap. Again, I really want to see it close above these levels too. Right now we got a little bit of a mini island top right here. So let's see if it can try to work its way up, get back up to that 200-day moving average before earnings. Good stuff. Yeah, Michael, my pleasure. Claudio, what's going on? Guild? Yeah, good old Guild. Now, Guild was a good one. We were actually, had a short idea on this one way back here under the cloud, and it did give us a nice move down. But during that down move, there was a lot of call activity. So it found these supports right here, and then it just was kind of moving all around. We had this guy that moved down, and then boom, this huge gap up, on some of their work that they're doing on the coronavirus, I believe. And then today, earnings after hours. So let's see how that reported here. That could be an interesting one. Yeah, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit kind of in between right here. It's given some interesting levels. So very, very tricky stock to trade intraday, but sometimes if you can catch a run on it, it can definitely be a good one, especially if you catch a gap like that. And Shack eventually will attack again, right? So it's had a nice breakout candle right here through the trading range. Gave a good move, upper shadows right here. It's got to close above these levels, get over the 200-day moving average, get over the cloud, and then hopefully after that it can start to fill that gap or complete filling that gap. And good. And then ADM. Tricky one right here. Maybe a little bit of a kind of a triangle going on. Right, so just kind of see how it holds there. I like how it's over the 50-day and the 200. Let's even get out of this triangle and give you a move. Very good stuff. Nick, what's going? Yeah, what's up? Archibald, what's going on? NVIDIA and Google. Let's take a look. Yep. So NVIDIA is very, very similar to the SPX, right? So we had a inside day gapping up, right? So now the real question is, does it want to come back and test the inside day, or is it going to continue to show strength and close above all these pivots up here, fill the closing gap, and then work its way up to the recent highs? That would be ideal. Google, rough earnings report, but it didn't move down like 100 points or anything like that. It just basically moved down, 50, 60 points, and then recovered to basically only be down 37 points. So looks like a regular day for Google, really. So it is holding up. It is holding up, a lot of these levels right here. So let's see if it continues to hold, work its way above this guy here, and then try to get its way back up to the all-time highs. Google has been really tough to trade, especially with options. Wendy, good morning. You're just getting right to it. No good mornings today, right? Just kidding. Hope you're doing great. Hope everybody's well in Singapore. CDLX. Let's take a look. Cardlytics. Let's take a look. Yeah, remember we had a triangle forming back here, and we wanted to get out of it? We're still in it. It's still extending here, and we're starting to poke out of it right here. So we've got this and this going on. So decent volume today is starting to poke its way out of the triangle. I like it. Let's see if that gets some continuation for you. So very, very nice, bull pennant type pattern right here. So continue to monitor that, see if it gets over today's highs and continues to push for you. I like it. And then SDC. Yep, also getting, wow, was prior bull flaggish and now is kind of looking triangulish. Let me do a fresh drawing on this one. This one's also looking like a triangle here for us. So yeah, so key levels right here. Let's see if it gets over today's highs and can push out of this pennant pattern here as well. A very, very big one, by the way. Baidu. Yep, ended up today, but still had a red day as well. What do we got going on here? There's an earnings conference call. I don't know. It's a little bit funky here. Not sure exactly what's going on. 2:27 for earnings. Conference call 2:06. Maybe they're reporting a little bit early. I'm not sure what the meaning of the conference call is. But either way, red candle today. Got to get back above today's highs, back over the inside day range, and then try to work its way up. So it's trying, but it is basically, here's your lows, here's your trend line. Needs to close bullishly, certainly over today's high. Otherwise, it's forming like a pivot right now. So let's see what it does after that conference call, whatever that is. And then Amazon, of course, defending the gap up here. Nice moves, but it needed to close above the prior all-time high. So it's showing some bullishness right here, but I want to see some stronger closes and some good volume on it. It was trying to play today. Tracy, what's going on? Good evening. Yeah, TiVo was a great move. Great idea from yesterday. Loved yesterday's candle, and great follow through today. And of course, it left with an upper shadow, which gave it, a little bit of a muted, anticlimactic move. But it did have a great day. Let's see what kind of levels we tested today. So we tested these levels right here. We got back to the inside day. Did we actually tag it though? The high here was 56. I think the high today was 50 even. So the algos defended it right at the half number right there. So it would still want to, it still could eventually come and test that one. I would say if it closed above this level, I think you have a shot of starting to get into the gap up there. NVCR. Novacure. Well, we wanted it to get above those levels previously. It has failed to do that. Right now, it's forming basically like a minor, turning point pivot right here. Let's see if it can close above today's high with some good volume and some strength to try to work its way back up to show it's trending back upward. And then TiVo we looked at, so good stuff. Yeah, my pleasure. Godwin, what's going on? What level is the most significant when testing a previous inside day? The high-low area with the most volume traded. Is the theory behind retesting inside days even from long ago that it was an area of indecision? Yes, we use this as key levels in all the time, and they are important. Right? There's points of interest, right? They really are, points of interest. So, here you had this triple inside day, just for example, on MVCR, right? Look at eventually just kind of just pushed up really quickly to just kind of test those levels again, just to see what was going on there, right? Because price likes to test levels and it likes to discover levels and go back and forth and do all this stuff, right? So we know, everything that's behind, we know there's manipulation and we know there's pushing and we know there's analysts and we know there's all that stuff. But there's some things that, price just likes to do. It likes to return to the scene of the breakdowns. It likes to return to the scene of the breakouts, right? So here's a big breakout move right here, right out of the cloud, right, which is super bullish, right? But if there's no other follow through on it, right, it probably wants to come back and test that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days later, it came back there and tested, right? And then we had a prior inside day right here, tested those levels, of course, recently after it, but again, those levels were significant, so we had another inside day at that level. We gapped above it, and so it does take time sometimes to get there. Oftentimes we see it tested within a 1 week period, but gapping over it, sometimes gapping over it, we do come back and test it quickly, and then we know whether or not it wants to be there or not, right? So if it's like, okay, let me test that inside day high, nope, we like it, let's go back up, right? So sometimes we can see some nice bounces off of those as well. Work Prism, what's going on, Dell? Let's take a look. Yeah, so Dell, wow. So let's see. So it's recently, after its re-release here, it's got a 200-day moving average forming. It's back over the 50-day moving average. Again, here's kind of like some macro trend lines right here. It's just kind of going back and forth a little bit between these levels, right? So we're seeing a lot of this stuff going on right here. So it was pretty interesting. I would say this level right here is key to get above this 51.72, or let's just say 52, because that'll put you back over the cloud, and then it could get, try to work its way up to the 53.94-ish area here where the 200-day moving average is. Seneca, what? No reason to be embarrassed. ACB, let's take a look. So yeah, so ACB trading like an option, right? So still below the macro downward trend line right here as it continues to, let's see, where is it? Yeah, I guess that hits that pivot right here. Okay, still below the macro downward trend line here, still below the 50-day moving average. This is, in a very long trading range right now, from here to here. So again, we really want to see a breakout candle. They tried to do it right here. This is back, I think, the Canadian news that got all the pot stocks going again. So it's been chopping again around here. Let's see if we can get above this level here, get above the cloud, get us above this trend line, get us to the 200-day moving average. But in the meantime, it's been bearish until proven otherwise. Too funny. Wendy, a few more. Let's see, Diz. Yeah, so Disney. Nice move today, nice gap up. A lot of strength through the rest of the market. Came back above this downward channel that we were recently looking at here. So it also had earnings tonight, which is blah. So it had great results, right? Revenue beat, earnings beat, and then they started talking about Disneyland being closed in Shanghai. So that came back down, and then it just basically got kind of middle of the range right here. So looks like the dealer wins on that one. Calls and puts, other than an iron condor. Right now, we'll see how we open on it right here, but it looks like it's going to be opening pretty flat. But we're definitely going to keep an eye on it. Sometimes trading Disney after earnings isn't really that exciting. TTD. Wow, great move on TTD today. Closed above a lot of key levels right here. Very, very bullish going into tomorrow, and should definitely be on the bullish radar. So that's a great one right there for us to keep an eye on. Now, let's take a look at now. Another nice move as well. Not a lot of volume on it, but if you're in it and you're up here, the volume really doesn't matter, right? It's just for us to look for an entry on it on swings. But I had this, look at this huge kind of inverted cup and handle pattern, head and shoulders pattern right here through these levels. Finally started to break out, came back down, retested it, and boom, gap up after earnings. It's defending the gap really well. Had a nice inside day up and a great move up today too. So definitely want to keep an eye on it. Just be careful of the volume on it. And a pause day for Zoom. Let's see. What a great day for Zoom yesterday, that's for sure. So it was one of the only ones that had a bullish candle on Friday, that one and Tesla, and both of them had incredible days yesterday. Tesla obviously had a wild day today, and Zoom had a nice follow through today, had a nice gap up today. So it's holding, right? The key levels for it to hold is the 50% range of this breakout candle. So it seems to have put a lower shadow there. Let's see if it stays above these levels. The level that it is at right now is this former pivot. So really holding that is going to be key. And then it may chop around a little bit, and now we have to see if we can get above these levels and then get through this prior congestion zone up here, where you can see we've got some prior 60 anchors that we were dealing with in the past. So good stuff. Richard, what's going on? MPC? Yep, Marathon Petroleum. I mean, this sector has just been really beat up recently. So, again, still below the 200-day moving average, below the 50, below the trend line. So generally pretty bearish until proven otherwise. Inside day, so let's see if it can break out of that candle one way or another tomorrow. Jay, what's going on? Hello, hello. Feels so good to be here. Nice. Well, it's great to have you here. Life of the Shadows, what's going on? Yeah, my pleasure. Jay, so IPGP. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We got the good ones. IPGP. I swear that sometimes you pick stocks that I've just never heard of before, just to see. But yeah, but I think you like to stay out of stuff that's like, has all the attention on it, and you just like to get like really technical on it. But great stuff here. Yeah, nice gap up today. Nice Marubozu candle. Again, right below the 50-day moving average with a gap above. So it could get pretty interesting right here. It left a gap below. Let's see if we can get above the 50. Right, start again that gap, get over the cloud for you, start to work its way up, and then before you know it, you'll have earnings to deal with. So that'll be interesting. Heli. Did I type that in right? Not sure what's going on. That's kind of a weird one right there. But MNST. MNST had a great candle today. I was hoping it would close a little more bullishly. Right? It wouldn't have left this upper shadow for us. But it had good volume today. So let's see if we can get above those levels tomorrow and continue to work its way up. LAC. Yeah, nice candle today. Just watch this pivot. And gold. Good old gold. So it keeps on coming back to the 50, bouncing off of it, back to the 50. Is it going to bounce off of it into tomorrow? We shall see. Futures are down a little bit, so gold could be one to be on the radar for tomorrow morning. So I like that as a potential bounce area. Wendy, my pleasure. Thank you. Alex, Vayev, let's take a look. Yep, Viavi, still below the 50 moving average, but over the 200. Remember all these levels up here that we never got above, just actually got down below them. So this candle right here was a very bearish candle through the thin cloud. Got back to 200-day moving average, gave you an inside day yesterday. It's kind of trying to work its way up a little bit. So earnings are today after the close. So let's see how that's looking here. Up a little bit and then down a little bit. So this is going to be an interesting one. Definitely want to keep on the radar tomorrow if you like trading it. GDX, yep, we were just looking at some gold type stuff here. So that's right at its 50-day moving average too. So if the markets are weakened tomorrow, these could be good ones to look at for potential bounces. UNG, how's that doing? Still bearish until proven otherwise? It looks like it, yeah, still below this trend line right here. Trying to get out of this guy right here. We had a fresh low, and then really just kind of needs to close above these guys here and try to get over the trend line. Such a tricky one. Eventually it's going to rip. Just have to keep an eye on it. CSIQ, Canadian Solar, yep, a lot of the solar names had some good moves today, good gaps up, a little bit of an upper shadow here into some selling pressure. Needs more strength, but I do like the gold cross on the 50-200 moving averages. Life of Shadows, yeah, Baba, let's take a look. Woo, huge gap up on Baba today. Wendy, this might be one to look at instead of Baidu, but this also has earnings coming up too. So nice move right here. Very, very tricky names to be in right now in this in the China stock names, but we'll continue to just follow a trend if we can. I like how the 50's over the 200. I like how it is getting out of this trend line right here. So I think a close above today's high could show that it's defending the gap and want to at least kind of test some of the higher highs there. Oh, I got you. Baidu has delayed earnings until next month. That's right. I remember. Thank you, Thomas. I remember reading about that or hearing about that. Great stuff. Oh, and Tracy, yeah, LK. Yeah, that's a good one too. Another China name too. Very appropriate. So LK, good stuff here. So, had to, Muddy Waters came in and muddied the waters on it. Gave a kind of a big short position idea on LK. On their fraud claims. It did push down. They defended themselves massively, and then Citron even came out and said it was bullish, right? They're like the big short sellers, but they said this one was bullish. Gave you an inside day yesterday, and then fortunately bounced off the cloud for anybody who was long on that one and got back to the 50-day moving average today. So right next, you've got the gap to fill. A couple key levels up here for it to try to get above to prove its bullishness. But here, if we kind of clear everything out, here's your trend line right here that you really want to get above. So So lots of work being done here on LK. Looks like a construction project, but that's really what the chart is kind of showing us. So pretty crazy stuff on that. But definitely want to look at, if we want to clean it up a little bit right here, we can just put a fresh trend line on it there, and just say, hey, let's get above this trend line first to see if we want to keep going up. Otherwise, it's bearish until proven otherwise. So good. Healy. It's cool. I spelled it Hilo a second ago. Helen and Tricor, very cool. Yeah, kind of little triangle type formation that's going on here. It's starting to get a little more active after the last earnings than it's been in a while. So let's see if we can get over this pivot level right here. This 195 is going to be key, and let's see if we can get over those recent highs. So good stuff. TuneFed, what's going on? Oh yeah, Snap. Let's take a look. Earnings tonight on Snap. So let's see how it does in tomorrow. It had a bullish day today, but goodness gracious, it did not follow through with earnings. So big gap down on that here. So down 3 points, which is pretty significant for it. So here it's basically looking at opening around 17 if we open where we're at right now. So at 17, we're back at this resistance level, this support level right here. So the good news is that we've got a congestion zone right here. We may see a reversal on Snap tomorrow. It's something to keep an eye on for sure. So good stuff. Wow, great charts tonight, guys. I hope everybody is enjoying the discussion here on changes of composure. We talked about Bollinger Bands tonight. We got some more cool ideas coming up this week, and really appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube, and also hit the like button if you enjoyed even a moment of it. We appreciate that. And if you have an opportunity, also check out the links in the description, links to our Twitter page, where you can come and look at charts and all the cool stuff that we talk about there, and also to our website too. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate everybody's support. And I hope everybody has a wonderful evening tonight. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow at the Good Morning Market Update in the morning on Twitter and on YouTube. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Remember your risk first and stay safe. Oh, that's okay, Jay. So you can stay in the game. I'll talk to you guys soon.